And she is also an associate professor in the School of Social Work at St. Thomas, and she focuses on social work research, social policy history, and social welfare issues. So, welcome, Jessica.
Thank you, Deborah. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Well, thank you, Deborah, for that introduction. Welcome to social workers to the 21st Social Work Day at the Capitol. It's impressive. We have the largest group we have ever had for this event, with over 1,000 social workers here today. And I want to first of all just do a real quick shout out to our Social Work Day at the Capitol Committee. Let's clap them, recognize for this amazing work. So we do have, I think, close to 1,100 social workers, including students, professionals in the field, and social work faculty from all over the state and even Wisconsin. See you over there. What an amazing turnout. Thank you to the legislative advocates who are tremendously busy at the Capitol this time of year for briefing us on the issues. And we thank all of the legislators who are coming today to speak to us in the rotunda. We value their time and their expertise and work on behalf of the state of Minnesota, its citizens, and its residents. Finally, I want to recognize all of you who made the long and the short commutes to St. Paul to show your commitment to advocating for social justice. We have so many of you. I'd like to do a little roll call, and when you hear your school's name, please just give a little whoop whoop, all right? Here we go. Ready? Let's go do alphabetically just to get yourself set. Here we go. Augsburg College. Or you can do that and cheer. Welcome, Augsburg. Bemidji State University. Bethel University. Nice. Concordia College at Moorhead. All right, there we go. Metro State University. Minnesota State University, Mankato. All right. Minnesota State University, Moorhead. All right, back there. North Central University. I like these, you know, they're loud. They're not many, but they're loud. They've got heart. St. Cloud State University. St. Thomas School of Social Work. St. Olaf College. They got signs. Pick that up, people. All right. The College of St. Scholastica, all their campuses. University of Minnesota, Duluth. Awesome. University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Very good. University of Wisconsin, River Falls. University of Wisconsin, Superior. All right. I heard Winona State University. That's awesome. Did I forget any? Oh my gosh. And how about the College of Professional Life? Professionals. They want to speak too. That's good. How about a big round of applause for everybody who's made it here today? Well, I think this turnout speaks in part to the fact that we are concerned. We are concerned about our clients and our communities. We are concerned about their welfare. We are concerned about children, older persons, families, mothers, fathers, persons of color, persons whose gender identity does not correspond with their assigned sex at birth. We are concerned about immigrants who are fleeing abject poverty, corruption, cartels, and political persecution, only to experience fear here. We are concerned about the 15-year-old girl and those like her who are sold into sexual slavery and hidden all across the state and our nation right under our noses. We are concerned about the person who has served their prison sentence is working, paying taxes, giving back to the community, but is denied the right to vote. We are concerned about the person with mental illness who ends up in prison rather than receiving appropriate mental health services. We are concerned about the person with a pre-existing health condition who might not be covered if the Affordable Care Act is repealed. We are concerned about the mother who is working 2 jobs to try to get ahead and still can't make ends meet. We are concerned about our children and grandchildren and whether they will have the benefit of an earth to sustain them. And we are concerned about student debt that cobbles graduates with an average of $30,000 in loans to pay off. So, I knew that'd get you. All right, so you are here today, and this may be your first time to Social Work Day at the Capitol. I'd like to see this. For how many of you, this is the first time you've been to Social Work Day at the Capitol? Let's see a show of hands. It's a lot of you. For how many of you, you've been to this event before? How many of you have been to it 3 times or more? Oh, quite a few. How many of you 5 times or more? Okay, I know every one of you. All right. Well, we're so glad that you're here. And as a student, this may be the first time you've been politically active, or you may be a professional social worker who feels compelled at this time in our history to get back in there. And you might be wondering, as your professional political identity is evolving or re-evolving, as you sit in this crowd, should I get involved? How much? In what way? Well, let's talk about that. Research out of the National Institute of Health has found that a lack of political participation impacts depression. They found that as voter turnout and other forms of political participation decreases, depression increases. In research, we call this an inverse relationship. This sense of helplessness and depression impacts our clients and us in 2 ways. First, it diminishes the motivation to be politically engaged in the first place. And second, the lack of political participation and engagement has real political consequences, resulting in a lack of the very services needed to address depression. And let's be clear here, as a social worker, I know that depression is political, not solely or even mostly because of a lack of mental health services, but because it reflects the lack of basic resources to meet our common human needs. If you want to prevent someone from becoming depressed, help them get housing. To prevent someone from becoming depressed, help them get a fair wage. To prevent someone from becoming depressed, help them get job security through a paid Family Medical Leave Act. To prevent someone becoming depressed, provide enough economic assistance to parents to support their children while they look to work to improve themselves through work or school. Not increasing MFIP grant in over 31 years is unconscionable. To prevent someone from becoming depressed, give them the right to vote their own political conscience. Yes, we are concerned, and what we realize is that our clients' concerns are our own concerns. There is no true line dividing us. We breathe the same air, we live under the same laws, we are tethered to a democracy we certainly hope can see us through. An Australian Aboriginal saying that I have heard, and one of our advocates who's speaking today, I've heard him say, if you have come here to help me, you're wasting your time. But if you've come here because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. So, we are all here today to reaffirm our commitment to each other and to our democracy through action. And we have the group to do that. And did you know that the Chronicle of Higher Education reports that the incoming freshman class, this one who just entered, is the most likely to date to state that it's very important to help those in difficulty. 75% of incoming freshmen said that it's very important to help those with difficulty. And in this freshman class, nearly 1 in 10 believe they will be involved in a student-led protest while in college, making this the most politically active group of students recorded, even more so than those of the late 1960s and early 70s during the Civil Rights Movement. So this is a movement, and this, in fact, is a movement about movements. So let's see a show of hands. How many of you were part of the Women's March? Likely the largest protest march in the history of the US. How many of you have been involved in the Black Lives Matter marches and movement, one way or another? How many of you participated locally or otherwise supporting the Standing Rock Sioux tribe in opposition to the Dakota Access Pipeline? How many of you were involved in the travel ban protests or at airports or in other ways? How many of you recently wrote, called, emailed, or visited your lawmaker about the proposed per capita allotment caps to Medicaid or the possible repeal of the Affordable Care Act? Okay, let's everybody raise your hand. Who raised their hand at least once at a time? Look around the room. There's a lot of politically engaged people here. And I'm here to tell you that these individual acts make a difference. The Women's March brought together 3.3 million people all over the country, and in the world, 137 cities protested outside of the US. Our conscience has been raised about the interface of communities of color and police officers, leading to a mandated body cameras, and we are watching and we're listening. And while the Standing Rock Sioux tribe received a blow from Trump's executive action to advance the Keystone Dakota Access Pipeline, the tribe is still fighting it in court. The travel ban has been prohibited by federal judges. And the Medicaid proposal that would have resulted in a $2.2 billion funding shortfall by 2009 in the state of Minnesota alone was thwarted because people like you spoke up. So one and done is no longer how we engage in political participation. Our world is enduringly political. Decisions are made that benefit some and disadvantage others. The forces of society, our laws, our rules, and our systems, our ideologies are constructed by people every day. So the good news is that if forces are created by people, they can be changed by people too. So here are some things you can do. And I know you know some of these. You can vote. You can contact your legislators regarding issues that concern you, like we're doing today. You can write an opinion piece for a paper. Your local paper wants something to publish. Share stories of your clients. The wider public does not know them. Work in your agencies to influence your immediate decision makers who administer the policies that we make at the state level. Join a political action group. Just a matter of an email. They can follow the issues at the Capitol, and then they can apprise you of phone calling and marches and petitions. You can read and listen to nonpartisan media. Do not promote alternative news and spread it around. Rather, be informed well. That is a good defense for democracy. Hold discussion groups. Discussion and debate and dissent is not just the essence of a democracy, it is the antithesis of an authoritarian regime. Talk to all kinds of people, those who are different from yourself. Understanding and listening to others is important, and this fabric of trust and cohesion is necessary for democracy to function. Support civil and political rights for all, and adherence to the Constitution's Bill of Rights, many of which we are demonstrating today. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of peaceful assembly, freedom of the press, the freedom to petition the government to redress a grievance. We're demonstrating a lot of those rights of our Constitution today. So support the institutions of our democracy, our courts, our free press, our political system, our state workers, our democratic associations of all kinds, including political parties and unions and associations of all kinds, and professional associations that advance the common good and promote civil society. De Tocqueville noted that associations work in part because they create power to influence larger forces. Just look at this power. As a professional association, the Minnesota chapter of the National Association of Social Workers made possible this democratic event, the Social Work Day at the Capitol. So we hope you can come join us, and come help shape and be a part of your major professional association. We are the profession to help the poor and disenfranchised and expand democracy. And we support the professionals like you in the field. All right, so I've had this tennis ball here, and as an early benefitter of Title IX with 3 older brothers, I played a lot of sports. Basketball and football and volleyball and softball. And one thing I learned is that you cannot play a team sport by yourself. You need everyone on the team to participate. And I like to think of us as one team, like the largest team on record. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to pass this ball around the entire room from person to person, and these are handoffs. These are not like Hail Marys or laterals or bounce passes, it's just handoffs. All right, and as you get it, hold it close to your head and just think of a policy wish that you have for this session and how you can lend your talents to it. So let's imbue this tennis ball with hope and action. This represents the teamwork we need to have in social work. And I'm going to come collect the tennis ball at the back of the room at the end of our speakers, because I have hope it's going to make it all the way back there, right? Everybody hopefully will have a chance to put your policy wish on it. So as I wrap up, we are the only profession with social justice in our code of ethics. If we do not promote it, what profession will? So the answer to my next questions from all of you are, we will. You ready? Who's going to fight oppression and disenfranchisement? Who's going to fight for social justice? Who's going to fight for a strong, vibrant democracy? All right, so now for those of us who can help us get there, I would like to invite Deborah Talon back up to introduce our first speaker. Welcome to Social Work Day at the Campus.
Thank you, Jessica. We're very fortunate to have someone